We are recording, right?
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
No.
oh yeah.
Sorry,
Alec, why did you
do it
pick
again.
this film? This great film.
I picked this film because I liked the idea of Robert Eggers being the first director to have his entire filmography in Film Club. I'm a really big fan of Robert Eggers. I think he's probably like one of the most interesting directors working today. He's got like I think he's got a real interest in old timey stuff and making sure that it's right. He's got like a really big focus on language, making it sound authentic to the time period. He puts a lot of effort into making things look right, and some fucking strange people might call that a bit dressy.
I never said it was dressing.
Well,
you said it was dressing.
You have to fucking explain yourself. But yeah, I thought it was. I think this is probably the weakest of his filmography, personally. I didn't know if we wanted to kind of go around and talk about which one we think is the best of them, but yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, I need to check. I can't remember what other stuff he did.
Oh, he did The Witch, and he did The Lighthouse.
Oh, yeah, The Lighthouse is the one I haven't seen. But he has another film, I swear.
He's got Nosferatu coming out this year.
Yeah, nothing else. So that's not out until the end of this year, I think. So a bit longer.
Yeah, he's just I think he's a really interesting filmmaker. Yeah, I really, like I said, I think it's possibly the weakest of them, but it's still really good. I think. I made the mistake of watching it with Eb in the room, and she kept going like, "Why is this a thing?" And I'm like, "Because it's mythology. I don't know." And she's like, "Why can't I open the sword up while it's the daytime?" And I'm like, "'Cause it's a magic sword." And she's like, "So it's less useful than a normal sword?" And I was like, "Yes." Shut up. But yeah, also I realised that sorry Ben, I did say this earlier. But yeah, I realised that Amleth is actually who Hamlet is based off of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was sort of going like, oh, that's weird. Amleth is the progenitor of Hamlet. That's cool. Hamlet. What the? And I thought Shakespeare, you fuck you. You just took the H off the end of Hamlet and put it on the front. You fucking.
He's very smart.
He was the first to do it. He was the first to rip off the story.
Yeah, money maker right there. Yeah. Hey, Pat.
Hi.
Also, I thought it's kind of funny because this is now the second Hamlet story that I've picked without actually picking Hamlet.
Very different one to the last one you did.
What was the last one?
The Lion King.
Yeah, so it was the one you nearly picked.
Keep forgetting that's based off it.
Same. Are you done, Alec?
I am done.
Wait, have you just started talking about the film?
Yeah, we were catching up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not gonna leave it out. Leave it hanging.
I thought we were going to be like halfway through the call by the time I got home, because I got home and I really needed the toilet.
Oh, is that where you've been?
Yeah, for the last 20 minutes I've been having problems.
You've trained your stomach to empty itself when film club started.
Yeah, no matter what time. Even we started film club at like 2 a.m. That was still.
To be fair, like, you smelt what I was dealing in London.
Pavlov's
It's
stomach.
Pens are a lot
It's
smaller.
not a surprise.
Hello, Frank.
Hey, Frank.
Oh man, it's my thing doing a thumbs down. I can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you're sitting like that.
Yeah. It's just it's not Gladiator tonight. But I thought this film was.
I could turn it off, but I can't be bothered right now. Anyway, um, personally, this is I haven't seen Lighthouse, so I can't comment on that. I mean, from what I've the tiny bit I know a bit about it, who knows what I would think about it. But between this and which I prefer this. I think this would be my favorite of the two. Um, Two main things for me about this film is I really liked how they did and approached everything. The mysticism, the mythology, the the story, the visuals, just all of it, all together. Production, the chanting, switching between the languages, the songs, the kind of way they weaved it together. I thought that was like perfect for me. It was exactly what I would. It hit all the notes I would have wanted it to hit, or it did all the things that I would have wanted it to do. And something you said, Alec, about like Eb was asking quite a few questions, and I guess I didn't realize just how much of like different parts of Norse mythology and the mysticism and the kind of rituals and the celebrations and things that I know or have been exposed to. So seeing all those little things like being referenced to, being paid attention to, and carried out in a way that felt pretty accurate, even though yes, it's in this kind of film way, this fantastical way. It also felt true to the spirit of it. Like even though it's done in a fantastical way, those beliefs would have still been those beliefs back then. And you would have had people like the kind of druids and seers and witches and whatnot who truly believed in what they were doing and the threads and knots of fate and all that stuff's really cool. On the other side, and I'm sure Pat will understand, and anyone else who's played the game, it really made me think that it was a story that could perfectly fit in the world of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And if you've ever played it, it was just like, this is awesome. This is like going back to the world of that game, which also delves into a lot of this type of stuff. Not quite in the same way, but it's great.
I second that.
Oh, glad you enjoyed it.
Thank
Rob, why did you hate it?
I don't hate it. I just
Well, you should tell your fucking scores then.
you.
well, most of them were decent scores. It's just the two that are the most personal were a bit. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's I find it hard to relate to this kind of like mythology and this kind of sort of time period and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, I'm not exactly sure why, but it's not something that like massively interests me, and I always find it like a bit of a difficult watch when this is the whole thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like we've sort of like period stuff. The ones that I get the most out of it, they tend to be like samurai films. Outside of that, like when it's kind of like, sort of Norse or whatever else, like I'm always a bit like, I don't know, like I struggle to sort of like latch on to anything. I'm not really too sure why.
Interesting.
But
I
yeah,
wonder if I should pick a different mythology type film for my next film, just to see how you react.
just chuck a
In that
load of mythologies at me and see what what comes back.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine if your period drama just has people just in their own clothes. If they're all just sort of like just in trackies.
Where is this thing with
Or-
clothes come from?
Oh, you said dressy.
I didn't. You did.
Oh man.
No, you said it about Master and Commander, which was a
This is
period
a
piece
different
as well.
film.
And you hate. I know, but it's the same problem.
No, it's not. I never cited the dresses in this.
Well,
Oh
we all
man.
know. We all know that that's it.
I don't know that. But are you watching this? Are you watching this Shogun?
Am I watching it?
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, you said no.
no.
Okay. Well, I
Oh,
think
you said
you'll
no.
I think you'll
No,
like
no,
it.
no.
Where
Don't know how it
are you
ends
watching
though.
it?
Disney
It's on
Plus.
Disney Plus, isn't
Oh,
it?
it's on Disney Plus. Oh, right, okay. I didn't think
Yeah.
we had it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what it is like. Because even with like God of War, for example, right? I've always loved God of War, but now that they've gone into like Norse mythology, I can't even get through the first one.
Oh man.
Um,
Yeah.
so you like the kind of Greek side of things?
I love those games, man. I really loved them so much, and I was really excited for these Norse ones, but I keep trying, but I just can't. I get to sort of like I get to a certain point where I just feel like I'm forcing myself to play it.
It's quite funny actually because the Greek ones aren't remotely close to Greek mythology. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea you had such a thing against mythology.
I don't. It's not like a thing against it. I don't know what it is. I find it hard to take an interest in it. I don't know why.
Maybe it's the kind of the values or the things that are held as the key points in a lot of the stories. Maybe they just don't connect with you.
I don't know. I think like I don't know. I'm sort of like thinking out loud, but like with like samurai films, like I suppose the thing that I find really interesting about them is like the whole thing about like the honor code and sort of like there's that thing of like learning about a different culture which you can still kind of like see in modern times in Japan. I mean, like, obviously like people aren't still going around committing harikiri and all that kind of stuff, but there's still that kind of thing of like living by an honor code and like all of that kind of stuff. So you can kind of follow the thread through from then to now. And I think that's what I find interesting about those films. I don't know. I don't think I've found that thread for things like Norse mythology.
North mythology, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe that's it. Like, I can't see how it relates to now, so I find it hard to get
How
into now.
about maybe not how it relates to, I guess the two things I would say in terms of relating to is relating to other parts of history all around the world and also to certain places in the world that are still having, I guess, like warring, like having different kind of warring going on, like
Mm,
maybe how they approach it. But I guess it's most relevant to like history and how a lot of old warfare was done in certain countries.
uh,
But I get what you mean. Like it's not how we do things. It's not how anyone really does it these days. They do it maybe in small pockets in
mm,
certain countries which are still like at war and conflict. But mm,
yeah, I don't know. But like on like a huh?
I said fucking ridiculous. But continue.
oh,
Yeah, I think
don't play Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
yeah, I think like on like a technical level, like there's a lot of like interesting things about it. And you and Pat have both mentioned Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I remember when I first watched it, I felt like there were certain points where I was like, I feel like I'm playing a game because there's like a few camera angles that are like as
Yeah.
if they've just come straight out of a game, and like even like the scene where they're I don't know what the sort of sport is, but they're basically like beating each other up over a ball. Like
Yeah,
even
the
that, like I was
clubs.
like, this feels like a mini game. Like it's
That's great. Yeah, that was man, that was bloody. That was a brutal game.
Well, they did. They
Like,
did. They did bring the mountain in for it.
Oh, was that
It was
actually
just
him?
shit Quidditch.
No, don't give her any credit.
Hang on a minute. Shit, Quidditch is just Quidditch.
but who did they bring in? You were saying? Is it
They brought
actor?
in the mountain from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
That's
that
unbelievable
makes
bit.
sense.
Where it was like, this Skarsgård's beating up the fucking mountain. It's just like,
He keeps popping up in things, and I keep going like, "Oh, that guy looks like the Mountain," and then I find out it is the Mountain every time. Like he was in World's Strongest Man as well, and it was like, "Oh, yeah, it is him."
Huh?
Oh, right, okay.
Wasn't he the one that
Makes sense.
dethroned Mark Henry as well, strongest man?
I don't know, to be honest.
yeah, he got his thumbs in his eyes. And exploded his head.
In fact,
Man.
he even turned up at university once as well.
Did he?
Yeah, he DJ'd at the student union.
That's
What?
Hodor.
Mountain.
Oh, right, yeah.
Huh?
No, Hodor is a DJ. He
Yeah,
came. He
Hodor, not
came and did it.
the Mountain.
Yeah, I was gonna say you won't be able to miss him, the mountain, doing the DJ.
Oh, that'd be too funny.
I remember everyone getting so excited and me being like, I don't know who he is.
Hold the
I wasn't
door.
excited
Hold
at
the
all.
Hold up.
On a very side note, yeah, complete side note. The moment you find out why he keeps saying Hodor is probably one of my favorite moments in the Game of Thrones series. It's just like that moment where everything clicks together and you just remember everything that that has to do with the character. You're like, that makes so much sense. I didn't think of this.
It was a great moment. I agree. One of the highlights. I can't remember what season it was, but it was one of the last great episodes.
Yeah, man. I wonder if I would like the books. Anyway,
No point now.
no, there is a point.
He's not gonna finish him.
I mean, that annoys me, but
Well, he might not, but he's like his son or family members will probably just do what Tolkien's family did after he died. They just use, oh, here are the manuscripts. Let's try and make something of this.
Well,
oh, man,
he could
that
have
does
finished his
piss me off.
book, but decided to make a video game instead. Mind you, it's probably the best game that's been made in the last 5 years, but still.
Wait, what did he make?
He
Elden
helped
Elden
make
Ring.
Elden Ring.
Oh, did he? Oh, right.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, he keeps making prequels though as well, which annoys me. Like ever since the last book, he's just like, oh, prequel, prequel, prequel. And I'm just like, you're just taking a piss at this point.
To be
Like
fair,
you don't.
for me, the ending of Game of Thrones is every bit on him as it was on the showrunners.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he could have just
They
been
were
like,
the
look,
ones who rushed it.
just be like, look, wait a couple of years. Let me just write this, and then everyone could be happy.
To be honest, I don't blame them for not waiting for him because at the end of the day, they're like, we want to finish this and
Yeah,
then move on to
everyone's getting
something else.
older. All the actors want to do other things. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, rush and get yeah, it's not a good way to do it. Like,
Yeah,
just
there
better
should have
wait.
been a happy medium there, I think.
There's just nothing like it. I felt like it was the biggest show ever for years, and then that ending happened, and it was like,
I think
oh,
I'd have had 2 more years of like spreading out and just pacing it better and everything, but no, missed opportunity.
Terrible. Anyway, back to the Northman. Thank you for your tangent again.
Anytime.
Anyway, the Northman is good because it reminded me of Game of Thrones. There we go. Yeah, I was saying to Alec before the call, I did like how it is kind of like I suppose it is like the pseudo Hamlet, like before, but obviously the story was made before Shakespeare even wrote the original, but everything we know about that story and why it's such a timeless classic is all in this, and it kind of like it proves how wonderful and how uh, manipulative, maybe not a word, but kind of malleable that story is. You can put it in all sorts of genres. Like obviously, Lion King was a perfect example as well. How you can transport it and put it in so many different things, but the story itself is still at its core just fundamentally timeless, and everyone, no matter what culture, what background, whatever language, or wherever country in the world you've been brought up in, can relate to this somehow and kind of like be kind of like emotionally invested with the characters in it because it's so timeless and so important. And this is a good job because it does a good job because it's kind of like the character in this. He's not a nice guy. He's done terrible things, but you can sort of you can sort of not relate to him, but you can empathize with him and the journey he goes with. Yeah, you understand his logic and his motives and everything that takes him from A to B. It all makes sense and the reason he does what he does. And so you're kind of invested with if he does succeed in his goal and all the twists and turns, especially when he finds out about his mother and how that sort of changes his viewpoint and when he kind of falls for Anna Taylor-Joy's character and the chance he has for redemption and a new life and in the path he can choose. This fork in the road he has to decide to go on, and he still chooses vengeance, which is quite a bittersweet, sad ending because he knows that's kind of it's his whole life is just that, and the fact he's kind of like led to believe that he's going to be the savior for his mother, and if it's going to go back to the way it was, and then he's just suddenly found out it's all for moot, and there's nothing he can do but accept it and move on, but he can't because he's hardwired to do this thing, this revenge, and he can't get out of it. So it is a fascinating film for that reason. I felt the only thing what's great about this film is also kind of like what's the weakness for it as well. It's more of my personal taste is that it's so bleak, but I think for being set in that time period, it's going to be so bleak anyway because there's so much like dour horribleness that he has to go through. Every character, there's so much strife and so much sorrow and so much like tragedy. There's hardly any light moments in it, and it's so relentlessly horrible and dour. And he kind of just you just want him to have this happy ending because he's gone through so much, and you just want these two characters to just have a family together. But you don't even get that. But you obviously get the satisfaction of him getting the revenge, so that kind of works in a way. And the brilliant showdown he has with I can't remember his name, but the actor I know him because
Oh, yeah.
he played Dracula in the BBC's Dracula. And that's how I see he has the showdown with Dracula, and it just is a fantastic kind of like brilliant, like as Pat said, Revenge of the Sith climatic fight, and it's pretty damn epic, and it's kind of like satisfying in that regard. But it's just kind of like you want to have some like a nice kind of like kind of like yeah catharsis. But I suppose he does have that because his spirituality kind of saves him in that regard because he has you see him going into Valhalla, or at least a version of him or someone going up into the tree in the heaven. And so I felt that was quite a good metaphorical kind of like symbol of the character's growth and how he kind of like that was his goal and that was his main aim is that at least he won his side offspring. He has two children like that Taylor Joy is gonna mother, and so yeah, he is that. but it's just it's just depressing. It's just a horrible film that in a good way because there's just so much like sadness and like violence and yeah. So it isn't a film that it kind of like it's not the kind of violence you kind of like cheering. It's just violence you kind of like, oh crap, he's got to go for this, he's got to do this, and they've done this, and he has to survive this before this happens, and it is a bit cringing and like makes you wince a bit, but yeah, it's effective, and that's what he was going for. Robert Eggers made it sure it's like we want to do it as effective as possible, even though I don't think it's the most realistic. It's close to it as you can possibly get. So I feel like the spirituality side of it kind of really helped, kind of like we're not going to put anything fancy like dragons or any kind of mythological beasts or something, but it was just enough for it to kind of be like this is mythic without like being a fantasy. So yeah, yeah,
I wonder
yeah.
if that's like part of why I struggle to relate to these kind of films because like I think one of the things that I always like about sort of any story is like the bits where like the normality of their lives resume a bit. And I think with these like with things in this sort of genre, like you never tend to get to that point. Like
No,
it's
it's so relentlessly horrible and bleak. There's just constant upheaval.
like it's like I don't want to sort of call it flat, but like it's sort of like it's all of like a similar tone kind of thing.
Mm,
So it's yeah, maybe that sort of contributes to it.
it makes sense. I mean, like, I wonder, I wonder what the TV series is like. The Viking TV series. I've never watched it.
Oh, people loved that when it came out.
Yeah, John's a big fan of it.
Isn't that why he
Oh,
got those things in his hair?
Maybe.
What TV series?
Vikings.
Viking.
Oh, Vikings. Yeah, it came out around Game of Thrones just when it took off, so everyone was going mad for like these fantasy epics. So I
I
don't know if the
wonder.
quality.
Oh, sorry, carry on.
I was just saying they don't know if the quality is as good as Peak Thrones or not.
Yeah, because I was just wondering if in that one you might get more of an everyday life since it you do see more of the things around the kind of battles because obviously this was like a main focus of their culture, especially um yeah, I think it was a big obviously it was a big focus of their around their culture. So I guess what films and stuff made end up focusing on that. But what you said, it makes sense. It's fair enough. The one thing I found interesting, because I'm just trying to look at the trivia. Um, I like how much he worked with historians to really like make this as close to like close to like what was recorded as possible. Since this was also, I didn't think about this too much, but this was the period just before Christianity had quite a big influence on their culture. Because, um, so as you heard in the film, and you probably know anyway, um, there was a there was a king that his his took the land away from Fjolnir. And if I'm right, that king, I think he was the first, was he the first kind of Christian Viking king or Christian influenced Viking king? Um, I might be slightly wrong, but I think that was like the start of things changing in terms of how Christianity started like interacting with and influencing Viking culture. And this film is set in a period basically before that's come into effect. So they're still heavily into a lot of the mysticism and like mythology and rituals and whatnot. compared to maybe 100 or 200 years later, where it might not be as strong because of how Christianity is kind of affecting them, which I find interesting anyway. There was a story I read that goes into this as well. It goes more into the tales of Thorfinn. Um, it's like this manga series, but it goes into a lot of like the whole kind of, I guess, the culture before and like and after the kind of whole Christianity affecting them, but also I guess a lot of ideas around the kind of battle thing, the Valhalla, the killing and whatnot, but then what's left after that, and like the kind of what's left for people after they have no battle, or do they want to live a different life? Do they want to live to protect rather than to kill, or to kind of stay away, or do they want to try and atone for what they've done? But anyway, it's an interesting story.
Patrick, we haven't heard from you yet.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, it was alright, wasn't it? No, it was a film that was sort of sitting on my list as well. Like probably my favourite of Robert Eggers films. Like I think all three of his films are really good. Even though one of them I had a bit of a up and down relationship with.
Wait, are you
no,
up or down on it right now?
Huh?
Are you up or down on it right now?
I've been up since I've decided. I'm not going down on it anymore. That's down right.
Oh man.
But no, this is definitely my favourite one of his. But I think that comes from my liking of Norse mythology.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
He did the same thing.
What?
he did
Rob
the same
also
as
said
I
North mythology.
I'm tired, man.
Mythology.
I'm not pronouncing my words right tonight. But yeah, like I love that sort of part of their sort of god worship and stuff. Like you talk like in terms of gaming, like the new God of War games, like I absolutely love. And obviously where this is quite similar to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like I took a lot out of both. There's just like so much that you can add on top of it. But they obviously took a specific part of the story that Hamlet was it was it Hamlet,
Hamlet.
that was inspired by it or whatever. Like I don't know if it's any of it's factual or anything. Like, but
I think it was
I
one
just
of those. Oh, sorry.
yeah, I was just gonna say I just dug the whole story around it. What was you gonna say, Manuel?
So what Shakespeare, I assume, would have been inspired by was so the story of Amleth, which appears in a kind of history of the Danes from way, way back, was like a
Yeah,
collection of oral traditions written around 1200 by like the Saxons or whatnot. So they would have been written down, and Shakespeare would have been inspired by that. So he would have taken notes and stuff from this tale.
yeah. Oh, but yeah, like I remember when like Rob initially watched this in the cinema before me and Ben did, and he was obviously said there was one scene in the beginning that I was gonna lose my shit over, and it still makes me laugh now. Just the cheeky little fart. So
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
it's like what is it with Willem Dafoe and just being in films being like crazy dude, and he does something funny, and I'm just like in fits laughing. It's not something you're supposed to be laughing at because it's sort of in the middle of a ritual.
It's hard not to.
Yeah. This isn't the kind of film that you laugh during, but that was.
Oh, that when I saw
And
it in the
part-
cinema, the bloke in front of me spent most of it going ha ha ha, and I was like, "What are you finding funny?"
I personally, I'd love to know personally if the fart was intended or if they were just like, oh fuck it, let's just go with it.
I gotta say, if it was improvised, Ethan Hawke's a much better actor than I've ever given him credit for.
There's
He was just like, okay, now time for my monologue.
But like how grim it was, I can actually really understand how not everyone is gonna really like it, but knowing what or read what the sort of Viking folklore stuff, I think Robert Eggers has sort of nailed that. Like, there's I read quite a few little articles from historians and some other filmmakers and stuff, and they think that this is probably the best depiction of that era, which is quite interesting. But yeah, like I loved the little battles and the abuse that some of the characters got. I thought it was well done, even if it's quite uncomfortable. But yeah, like I can't really say much to fault it.
I mean, I don't think they had plastic surgery back in those times.
No. You talking about the bloke's nose?
No, I was talking about Nicole Kidman.
Oh,
Oh.
I'll be honest. I was very surprised to see her in this film.
I was surprised that she was Nicole Kidman. I was like, she looks like Nicole Kidman, but she can't be Nicole Kidman because she doesn't look like she is Nicole Kidman.
She was actually really good in this. Like for her limited lines, I thought she hit all the notes well, and there was that sort of relationship with her son. Like she obviously didn't give a shit about him because he was born out of a marriage she didn't really want to be in, and she cared more about her kids with her second husband, whatnot. And you could tell the pain in. I can't fucking remember his name. Yeah. You can tell the pain from him when he sort of finds out how she feels. And like you can tell at the first time he's like, I really want to kill her, but I don't want to kill a woman. And then he's like, second time he's like, fucking hell, she's just cutting holes in me. I'm just like a fucking slayer.
You've made your
I
point.
love
You've
it.
made your point.
I'd love it if that was in the script. It's just kind of like internal monologue. I don't want to kill a woman, but she's putting fucking holes in me. Got a slayer.
I personally enjoyed his killing of his little brother. He just sort of flies at him. He's like put down like a half dead fly.
Yeah.
But no, I had a good time watching it. I tried watching it earlier in the week in the evening, but obviously working all day, and then this is quite a heavy film anyway. And I sort of got to where he's got onto the island to sort of get his revenge. And then I've woken up during the fucking Star Wars Battle of the Fates thing at the end. But yeah, but like watching it again this morning, I was like, this is a very good film, and I'm looking forward to whatever Robert Eggers makes next.
Yeah.
Nosferatu.
Which we spoke about the other day, and I forgot about it again.
Oh, did you actually forget that?
Yeah.
Now that would be interesting, man, because like that's the kind of film where like a modern remake is justified because the original was like a sort of like 20s or 30s silent film. So it'll be really interesting to see like
You
what direction he
actually
takes it.
would have seen a clip from that in Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
interesting.
I know that because we went to go and see it in the cinema the other day.
Oh,
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, it was the 20th anniversary last week.
he's
Ooh.
as a director, he's very much from an old school sort of style, isn't he? So I think it's nice to have a director with that sort of style in the modern era as well.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
very much sort of differentiates things. Like I think at the minute, like a lot of films are sort of being done in a similar style where he is completely on his own with his own style.
Yeah, I think there's a few sort of young directors now that are doing some really interesting stuff. Like he's one of them. I think Ari Aster is probably like my favorite of the sort of younger directors at the moment. Yeah.
Some random stuff. Like I posted it in the chat, but I was laughing at how like in some of the gifts they gave people, William Defoe got a whole freaking long ship. It's just
Fucking
like
right on.
I was just like,
Was it the
ooh,
prosthetic again?
put in the film too much, but you did great. And then Skarsgård got a framed blood stained thong he wore for a week while shooting. It's just like, wait, this doesn't seem quite equivalent. Maybe you could get something else.
I'd have expected Willem to have wanted the head.
Oh man.
That was
Oh
fucking
yeah.
great.
Yeah, I love that kind of, because that's like a reference to Mimir and how like Odin kept Mimir's head, his teacher, pickled so he could keep and reanimated him so he could keep teaching him. So it's cool. It's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense in that kind of story. It would have made sense that it was in this story anyway. But that's just kind of cool. And one thing I liked, I didn't know exactly why. I know it would have. I know there was a reason for it, but I didn't know exactly what the reason for it. But when he kills the undead, Aleph, and puts the head like between his buttocks, and I was just like, he must be doing that because that's the way to like make sure he's dead. And yeah, that was believed. It was believed by medieval Icelanders, like one of their myths. Like the mythology of a I can't say it right. Jaragud is to keep him from rising again. Is to put his head between his buttocks when you sever it, or to burn its corpse. So, but that was also funny.
Yeah, he got a bad rap.
And apparently it's Control M.
Huh?
Ben's mouse is pissed.
This is what according to Google anyway.
Try Command M, Ben. Only seen
I
it.
did it. Yeah, thank you. I don't know what it is. I'm using two different mice, and it's like the left, the main left click to do almost everything, just suddenly not working. And I
Oh,
don't know what the
really?
hell's wrong. So the only way to do it is rebooting. So I don't want to do that just yet. Yeah,
You
thank
should,
you.
you should get a ball mouse like mine, man. It's never let me down.
Yeah, those good old ball ones, the ones that you can take out and throw at people in the classroom.
I'm scared of doing that with mine, to be honest, because it's like, well, I'll show you a picture of it, but like it doesn't look like it would fit back in if I took it out.
Oh man, I never got on with those mice.
I love
I
it.
was so glad when times moved on.
Oh no, not the ball underneath. So hang on, this
Oh,
is
I
the
know what
one.
you mean. The ones that kind of in the shape of your palm.
Yeah, so this is the mouse I
Oh,
use.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. That's similar to the one that
Ew.
It's got that sort of like contour.
Oh yeah,
I
Yeah,
can't show
it's a
you
good
mine.
one.
Mine's attached to my laptop.
yeah. I love it, man, because I don't move it at all. I just like use my thumb to scroll everywhere, and it's like,
Mm.
yeah, it's really cool.
That is an
That
ugly
makes
fucking
sense.
mouse.
And I've got an
It's
Apple
very.
mouse as well, just for Alec. But this
Oh
one you
man.
don't charge. It's got batteries.
How is it?
Yeah, much better for
That's
I
battery
was
than.
I was
pointless.
tempted to get an Apple mouse, but I was like, I can't justify it
No.
when the mouse that I prefer using is like 30 quid cheaper.
It sucks. It really sucks. Your mouse is so like really it's so good ergonomically.
Mm,
If you move to something else, yeah, you will be like, I want to
yeah,
go back.
yeah. I don't think I could use a normal mouse like long term now. So I'm just so used to like my palm being in one like stationary position and just doing that.
Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah,
we
talking
will
about
talk
mice.
about the film despite your fucking best efforts.
Didn't see a single mouse in the film. What is this?
Yeah, there's plenty of ravens and wolf and what else was there? Crows, I guess. What ravens? What else?
You're filibustering, Ben.
Yeah, we have to think about all the animals in the film. There's horses. Don't forget plenty of horses.
Oh
Sacrificial
yeah, they
ones.
chopped off a horse's head.
Yeah, twice
Oh,
actually.
man.
It was done
That's the
twice.
Godfather.
This reminded me of Apocalypse Now. Right? Wait, was it Apocalypse Now? Or just
Yeah,
Apocalypse?
but there's a cow.
And Apocalypse Cow, yes.
Yeah. Oh, man, what's with these animals being sacrificed? I mean, I know
Yeah.
what it is, but still. At least in this context, it made more sense. In Apocalypse Now, it just felt like a fever dream.
Yeah.
Like the idea that it was called Apocalypse. It was always called Apocalypse Cow. And it wasn't until you got to that scene that everyone went, "Oh, that's why it's called Apocalypse Cow."
I think it's making sense now. It's all related back to Amalek.
Bloody. I'm still annoyed. I'm still annoyed.
What, you're still
Shakespeare.
annoyed at what?
I'm annoyed that Shakespeare made Hamlet by taking like the H from Hamlet's name and moving it to the front.
You wait until you hear about Betham.
Oh man. To be honest. Oh, man.
I'm better than the story of Uthel.
Oh man.
Hello.
I'm trying to think of another word, but the taming of the oh,
The
that
taming
one.
of the Hughes.
Hughes, yeah. Oh, taming, yeah. That sounds anti-Semitic.
And let's not forget
Scottish one.
Oh Romy and
Oh.
to Julia.
Oh, what about the Midsummer Night's Reamed?
Oh, the Empest.
Oh, the Empest, yeah.
Empest. Oh my goodness.
Take that, Shakespeare, you fucking. Do you like to do favourite scenes?
Oh, I know what Pat's is.
That's gonna be too easy.
The other favourite scene. I think
Give me a minute.
I've got my favourite scene actually. What I've thought was I've really liked even more the second time round. When he has he has to get the sword after he's met the weird guy with Willem Dafoe's shrunken head. It was what obviously he fights the old undead king, whoever it was. Sorry if I got it wrong, but I just felt that was so
Mount
clever.
Llewellyn.
Yeah, I thought that was so clever that he has this battle with him, but it turns out it was all in his head all along, and he just lifts the sword up, and the body just crumbles to dust after that, and it's kind of like,
It's
what have I just gone
something-
through?
That is something I really like about this. Is this kind of like is how much the mythology is actually real versus like how much he's hallucinating.
Yeah, I think that's what's really cool about when they films do that, when they up to you to decide what's real or not, and it's an interesting way of presenting it without being a complete fantasy epic. It does it in a way that's kind of like this all could be in his head, but it's still interesting and a fascinating depiction of how it was back in 800 AD, wasn't it? Yeah.
195 AD. Yeah, I think it's I think it's like it's really it's like a really strong theme of it is like the power of belief. I think, and it's just kind of like how much how much his life is dictated by belief in this prophecy about him stuff, and like I think it's like in those early scenes, just after the fart scene, when he's like making his oath to Ethan Hawke. Tell like this, I don't know, knowing where he's going to go, you kind of go like, wow, this isn't just a story for him. Like he actually believes this, and then yeah, that keeps coming back into it, just like all these mystical things being in his head, but also like affecting the plot. And really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Thank you. Did you have a favourite scene, or was it too dressy for you?
No, said dressing. I said recede. Yeah, probably. To be honest, probably the I don't know. It sounds like a sort of backhanded thing, but probably that scene with the mountain. To be honest, because both times I've watched it now, that's the scene that's kind of like shook me up a bit and made me go like, oh okay. Because I don't know, like I found my attention sort of waning a bit, and then that happens, and that's just like so brutal that it's a bit like a sort of it's a little bit of a shake back into it. But yeah,
Wait, you mean the mountain as in the actor, or the mountain as in the volcanic mountain at the end?
the actor, not the
Cool.
landscape.
Both were impressive. I think the locations and like filming in Iceland was one of the highlights. 'Cause it's such a like strikingly beautiful but very barren landscape, and it was just perfect. Perfect cinematography they got all the way through. Once they got to Iceland, once they got to that part of the story, it just was so much more visually striking for me.
Yeah, that was quite interesting actually, because where it's shot in Iceland, and then you've got Bjork in it as well. Like there's yeah, I don't know, it's a bit of a weird one. I think I assumed that there was like some kind of like Icelandic production company behind it or something, but it's just weird, isn't it? Because like it's a story that comes from Denmark, right?
Hamlet is from Denmark. I imagine Hamlet probably is an old Norse.
Maybe
Yeah,
that
the North
was
stuff kind of is all around that area back before the United
unless
Kingdom.
Shakespeare was
Before,
just
yeah,
like Shakespeare was like, I can't have people knowing that Hamlet's Hamlet. I'm gonna have to take him to Iceland. No, Denmark, sorry.
yeah, I think it was all that part of the country where, or the world, where the people could like walk to and from and sail to and from places. And before the countries we know them as they are now, it
Yeah.
was all kind of free reign for the Vikings.
But that was like, because that was a thing back then as well, right? Because apparently there was a time where the Danish accent was quite similar to the British accent, just because it was easier to travel by sea than it was by land. So like you'd have like the rest of mainland Europe would be like completely separated from Denmark, but we would have a lot in common with Denmark just because of that. And so I suppose it would be the similar thing for Iceland, where Denmark would share more in common with Iceland than it would with like Germany, for example, even though it's closer to Germany.
It's quite interesting. I never considered that. Emmanuel, favorite scene?
Am I the last one? It says someone else as well.
I've still got to do mine.
Just little old me.
Pat, can you do yours first? Sorry.
Are you eating an Easter
No.
egg?
Hmm?
Are you eating an Easter egg?
Yeah.
I look like a fork.
No, it's a Twix.
Oh, right.
Okay, my favorite scene is the one with the Willem Dafoe head. I thought that was fucking neat as fuck.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mine. It'd be easy for me to say the fart scene or the fight scene at the end.
The fart scene on the fight scene.
Yeah, that's there can only be
Fart or
one.
fight.
Oh no.
My,
Oh, yeah.
I think I've sort of settled on when
I've
he's
just got an
getting
advert
beat
brand.
when he's getting beaten up in the shed, and then the Ravens come and sort of basically cut him down, and he wakes up in the hot spring.
Interested.
I thought that was a pretty nice scene. It sort of summed up sort of those two characters' relationships as well.
Nice.
Also, Anya Taylor-Joy got her bum out.
I bet. I'm surprised Rob hasn't given it a bonus score for that.
That was all 4 of the enjoyment points.
So for me,
It was 2 of them.
see, that's pretty much what I was thinking. I'm like finding it hard to kind of like choose, but I think I'll say maybe my favorite scene, and then say other ones that come close to it. Um, so my favorite scene, I think, is when he chops off Fiona's head at the end in the lake of fire. It's like his his fate spoke of, and he's he's at peace. He's just underground looking up at peace, and it's over. He's done what he was meant to do. He's done what he intended, and he's even got a line that will continue to be held on him. It's just it's great. It's a great kind of powerful end to the story.
He didn't do what Fjolnir did, which was very silly.
What kill his brother?
No, Fjolnir. The whole reason Fjolnir fucked up was because he only killed his brother. And then he was like, and you guys, you fucking 10-thumbed fucking idiots, you go and take care of the boy. It's just like, oh
Yeah,
god.
I think it was.
Where it
Yeah,
all
I
goes
think
wrong all the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
always do it yourself. Don't let anyone else do your job.
Yeah, I think I'm not surprised it happened. At the end of the day, like he trusts his men, and he is just a boy. So he's just like, what's this like? Like, are they what trouble are they gonna have with a boy? He, I think where he messed up as well though was more so of not being thorough enough to be like, okay, can you take me there? Can you show me like where it happened? Because I want to see his body. Obviously, the man did say, "Oh yeah, he's at sea or whatever," but he wouldn't have gone that far away. I mean, it was he could have been a bit more thorough, but whatever.
In fairness, it's exactly the same issue with Lion King, where Scar lets the hyenas take care of Simba. And obviously, Simba escapes, and they just say, "Oh yeah, he's gone, he's gone," and they just like yell at him, and he runs off into the desert. But it's the same story they gave, the same Fob story they give him, and it's like, yeah, he's dead. Oh wait, 10 years later, he's back.
But in The
Yeah.
Lion King, there's actually like a reason for it, because if he killed Simba, then the other lions would be able to smell it on him. Whereas with
Mhm.
this, there's no reason to not do it, because the queen's already said, kill the boy.
Yeah, true.
So
That's true. Scar couldn't kill Simba himself. That's why he had to get the hyenas to do it.
yeah.
Mm.
Whereas this one, he's a fucking punk.
Mm.
And it's like,
He's a
hey man, you
fool.
know, if you just did what like Amleth did, he just went a little bit with the extra mile. You know, he didn't mess about. He killed Nicole Kidman. He killed the little child. He killed the little child with the big beard. And then he killed you. And he's just like, right, there's no one. You're fucked. It's like, yeah, see, that's how you do it.
But also, to be honest, to not to his credit, but to kind of add that thing to it, at the end of the day, the chances of him surviving to adulthood back then, with literally running away with no support, no one to go to, no allies, no that he can like he will know to go to because he hasn't traveled the world. He hasn't traveled with his father. Like the fact that he survived was a miracle. The fact that he was able to come and bring revenge, I mean, that was something else. Yes, on the other hand, he should have. It also shows how Fjolnir didn't believe in the kind of mythology and mysticism side of things, unlike maybe some of the others. Because if he really did believe in it, he wouldn't have killed his brother in that way. You know what he could have done? He could have. Sorry, I thought I was talking too loud. He
You know what he could have done?
Nothing at
one of the
all.
He could have done this.
nothing at all. Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at. It is sorry. Um, oh, great scene. Great
Dixie Flanders.
episode. Oh, that sounded exactly like Homer. But anyway, um, sorry, put, I put myself off now. Or distracted myself. He could have, as long as he got enough support, which it seems like he did, he could have challenged him to what's a kind of leader deal, basically a fight to the death. Um, and maybe I don't know if that was I don't know if that was necessarily in their particular coach at the time. I think it was, well, unless it came in later. But I think that is something he could have done. He could have tried to do it more honorably. And if that was the case, yeah, his son would have still, been pissed or whatnot. But it would have been much different, and it might not have in their culture or their eyes kind of angered the spirits as much. But Fjordur obviously didn't care and thought little of it. He's just like, well, what are you talking about? Like even when the wife at the like was saying it's Amalith, it's this, he's like, what you talking about? He dead. Like even if it's some revenge, but no, that stuff ain't true. It's just like, believe me, this is all because of him, because of what you did. It's just like, really? Oh, I didn't think that was possible. um. Anyway, in terms of
that's
other
okay.
things, huh?
Kara?
Kara,
Kara.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
ERROR.
Error.
Oh, Era. Ah. But the was it? I also like the scene that you guys are missing about the whole kind of fighting undead in his head, like a kind of more spiritual battle, and then he won that battle and was able to take the sword off. Um, and another, I really, it's messed up, but I like the first time he uses the sword. And the next morning, he arranged, that was like effed up. He arranged the bodies like a horse, pinned in pieces to the wall. And, and then the lady witch, was going up and she's like, yeah, this ain't of this world. This is just way too messed up. I was just like, yeah, it's messed up. I don't know why you think those were Christians, but I mean, their view of the Christians at the time would have been quite different. Um, but but I don't know. I think I like the whole kind of scene. It's just like so it's like, oh yeah, their savior was like he was pinned to some cross, wasn't he? So they're doing it like that. It's quite interesting. It's like, I mean, I guess you could see it like that. I mean, I mean, this looks more like something a sorcerer would do. Like I say, not sorcerer, but this reminds me more of the witch kind of film instead of maybe some Christians. But who knows? Maybe there's some link between the witch and this. So you just got to put some weird stuff in there. And even though it's not a scene, I like the throat singing done throughout, and I find it really cool that was it in Ingvar Sigurdsson? I don't know who played the He Witch. He learned how to throat sing for the role, which was cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and the kind of another thing about like he witches, sorcerers, female witches, and all that kind of stuff. In terms of mythology, the the sorcerer wears women's clothing, which I didn't realize. But in the Iron Age, in Iron Age Scandinavia, magic was seen as a female activity, and terms for male magicians were also used as slurs against homosexuals. And according to legend, Odin disguised himself as a woman so he could learn magic from the goddess. This is just interesting things there.
Hmm. That is interesting.
Even like the more I learn about like how they like reference or like use different parts of history in it, and like one of I think multiple of you have said like how really pays close attention to like language in his films, or trying to get it as accurate as possible. And like even like the runes he uses, and I just find it really cool. Like most of the runes, except the one on the sword, are written in, they call it Younger Futhak. But then the Dragu or whatnot runes on the sword are written in kind of like Elder Futhak, which is even older, which is like pre-Viking age, to kind of just how I guess old this sword of legend is meant to be, like where it's meant to hail from, where it's meant to come from. It's just like, there's just lots of nice little things. It's awesome when, obviously, he's a great director. Yes, it's awesome that he's putting those small touches that you wouldn't necessarily notice or know until you start digging into things. It's just like, that's cool.
Right, sir. I think we are all flagging.
Flag.
But one could say the film was excellent. You know?
Oh, for fuck's sake. We went the whole time not doing it.
It's your fault for picking it over Easter, Alec.
Yeah. Good old Eggers.
No,
This
It's
week
Mr.
we are
Eggleston.
the odd men of the north.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Oh my goodness.
oh,
You definitely are tired. Oh man. Oh yeah, it's, wait a second. Ben,
Hmm.
which day is your actual birthday? Is it Monday?
Today.
Huh?
No, yeah, it's technically now.
It's technically now.
Happy birthday,
happy
Ben.
Oh,
birthday,
Thank you.
Ben.
happy birthday.
Happy of the birthdays.
Happy birthday. I was thinking, I was like, wait, is it his birthday today? Or is it Monday? Because it's technically already his birthday. I should wish him happy birthday.
He's
some
only
reason-
37.
For some reason, every year, I always think on the 29th, I always go, oh shit, it's Ben's birthday. And then I go, oh no, it's not.
No, it's not.
Like every single year. I don't know why I've got the 29th in my head.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
it
that's funny.
must have been someone you knew.
I don't know.
Oh, that makes sense. Sorry, the horse, when he pins the body to the wall, I forgot about Sleipnir. It looks like a horse, but it's specifically in the shape of Sleipnir, Odin's eight-legged steed. Oh, which is a whole thing itself. I swear.
Yeah, Loki's his mum.
Yeah, his mom and
Oh.
dad. Loki changed into a female horse and had sex with one of, like, was it one of Odin's other horses or something? Because I think he wanted it for himself. Or I can't remember the whole kind of mythology.
Oh,
But then,
I
yeah,
didn't
he
know we
had.
did that in the show.
Yeah,
If only.
they
That would have been
cut it out.
interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, and then he I think, yeah, he gave birth to, or he had, or he was the mother, whatever, of Sleipnir, who was like freaking powerful, fast horse that Odin used. But yeah, just like Loki is, I don't know, Loki's something else. He just way too much mess.
I think that's why I found it quite funny in the show when everyone was like, hey, they're saying Loki's gay. And I'm like, you have absolutely no idea, man. Like, Loki's fucked.
Oh man, Loki's all over the shop.
That was like a brilliant bit of that, though, because like it was the typical reaction on Twitter where they were going, "Oh, they've made Loki woke," and it's like, well,
No.
Loki is pretty far beyond binaries, man.
man.
Loki
Wait,
don't give a fuck.
which part are they talking about? I don't even know
I
when it
think
was
it was in
happening.
maybe season 2 where there was a bit where Loki was a female for a bit, something like that.
No, it's episode 3. The female Loki asks him like if he's got like a princess waiting for him or a prince, and he sort of kind of goes like, and, like it could go either way. And everyone's like, "Oh my god,
Oh yeah,
they
those
made him
people got
gay!" It's like, no. Loki being
yeah,
gay is really not
Yeah,
not
that's
a thing.
the least of the problem.
yeah,
As
yeah.
Alex was
That's only the tip.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, just the tip.
that's what she said.
Oh,
Oh, man.
right. Have we got any parting thoughts before I die?
Good pick. Good pick, Alec.
Oh, you said stupid. Stupid,
Yeah.
Alec.
Excellent.
Silly boy.
Excellent.
Silly boy.
Yeah, great pick, man. Thanks for picking it.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm surprised you liked it, but I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
I believe it's Rob's double bill.
It's the double
Rob,
bill.
what's your films?
So my double bill. So I noticed, like, so I didn't plan this, but I noticed that the last couple of well, actually the only couple of double bills that I've done up to now. So like once or twice a year, I like to pick a classic, and the last couple of classics that I've done have been a part of double bills. And I thought, well, actually, that's quite a nice way to do that because you can do something interesting with it, even if like everyone's seen it or whatever. So I'm going to do it again this year. And so I'm picking 2 films that they're not really related in any way, but I think they kind of like highlight what's interesting about one another. Because one is a few people in a shitty situation and they're all really shitty people. And then the other is people in a shitty situation, but they're not shitty people. And one's about how the shitty people deal with being in a shitty situation, and the other is how the good people ended up in a shitty situation. So I thought it was kind of interesting to put them together. So the first film is the classic, is Reservoir Dogs, and the second film is a film that I don't think anyone's seen before, is Shoplifters.
Oh yeah, I love shoplifters.
No,
Oh
you don't.
wait, Shoplift. That's on my list.
Oh, is it?
I've seen the trailer, and at one point I planned on watching it. Like I might have almost even picked it at one point, just as a potential, but I never did. I don't know why.
Oh, it's a
But
brilliant film, man.
cool.
Yeah. But it's like, it's another one that I think is an interesting cultural thing because it's like Reservoir Dogs is just sort of like very kind of like American, sort of like black and white, kind of like these people are just horrible people and it's all about them dealing with each other being horrible people. But Shoplifters is more like, yeah, these people are criminals, but let's think about why they're criminals. But yeah, I think it's an interesting pairing.
Nice. You know what song's in my head now, Rob?
Is it stuck in the middle with you? Oh, do you know, I've
Middle
missed a trick. I should have said that part of the double bill is Quentin Tarantino's third film in Film Club.
Oh, you got there. It's okay. You did it.
I think you put Alec asleep.
I'm fine. I'm good.
I'm hiding my pain behind an AP.
It's an R actually. You fool.
That's cool. Yeah, thanks. That should be a good time. And then I'll
good.
figure out what I'm gonna pick.
Oh yeah, you're next year.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I remember. Was it today? I looked at the thing. I was panicking. I was like, I can't remember who's next. I hope I'm not next. I don't know what to pick. Oh, it's Rob. Forgot, yeah, because it's Rob with Alec. Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I think I know what direction I'm gonna go at least. Anyway.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Take care,
Sweet.
y'all.
Yeah.
Cool.
And happy birthday again, man.
Oh, thank you
Happy
very much.
birthday.
Ben.
See you
Thank you
guys in a
very
bit.
much.
Happy
Bye.
birthday.
See you next time.
See
See
you
you
in a bit.
later.